Gabrielle, just how significant is this? What does this mean for America?
This means that we got exactly what we voted for because we all know that this was a major platform item for the president on his campaign trail and certainly in term one. When we were in term one, I remember how many government shutdowns we had just because there was such a threshold of which the Democrats didn't want to come to the table and talk and even have a conversation that was more or less focused, surprisingly, on DACA at that time for President Trump's term one. Term two, there's no concessions that he's willing to make, and he's locking down the border as he promised. I think a lot of this comes from the absolute successes of I've covered a lot at the Pentagon and the military, the Department of Defense being integrated into Border Patrol is a huge improvement. And this is a direct result of it because you have Northcom and Southcom working hand in hand with the Mexican government and intel sharing, of course, when it's appropriate. I imagine not all of it. Also being able to utilize jammers for drones. There is so much going on there. CCOT in El Salvador. We have exercised every avenue at this moment that we possibly can in securing the border outside of the traditional, well, we need more manpower, or maybe we need to build a wall. We're starting to think a little bit more critically with the assets that we already have. So I think this is great news. I mean, I remember back in 2018, Yale University actually spearheaded a study in which they took numbers all the way from 2016, so from the early 2000s to 2016, and they were analyzing and trying to counter the US Census Bureau for how many illegal immigrants were actually in the United States. And what they found in their study in 2018 was that the United States government was behind in their reporting by 50%. What they estimate, and similar estimations up to this day and age, was around 11.5 million. At that point, back in 2015, all the way up to 2018, they were saying the same numbers, and Yale University said, hold on, actually, it's higher. It's about 50% more. We're looking at 20 plus more million illegal immigrants being in the United States. So we've always had a problem in
Mm.
monitoring, and now it sounds like we're finally getting to a place where we can start quite literally from ground zero. And it also positions these individuals that genuinely do want to come to the United States when there is a clean, secure border with protocols, with manpower, and also individuals that can be protected and not being utilized to be smuggled or trafficked into our country for whether it's for human trafficking or for drug trafficking. So this is such a win. And it's, again, a direct result of exactly what we voted for.
Just finally, on the Maha movement, RFK Jr says that he's officially moving to ban food stamps from being used for soda. So this is to ban the purchase of sugary sodas using Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits. He argues that tax dollars should not be going to food that can make children sick. Take a listen.
The U.S. taxpayer should not be paying to feed kids foods, the poorest kids in our country, with foods that are going to give them diabetes. And then my agency ends up through Medicaid and Medicare paying for those injuries. So we're going to put an end to that, and we're doing it step by step, state by state.
Advocates of the ban argue that this is going to improve public health outcomes and reduce long-term medical costs. What's your response?
Yeah, I think this is a great thing. At the end of the day, for SNAP, you have to focus on nutrient dense foods. So to have that be applied to the quite literally the opposite when it comes to sugary foods and drinks, well, no one's getting their nutrition. It's cyclical. And that's when you have to start. It goes back to everything of our fiber of our being of not having to rely on the government. But if you're relying on the government for your money, you're applying that to food that's not good for you. By default, that food is poisoning your body and you're sick. And now you need to rely on the government to come in and handle health care for you. It's a never ending cycle. So I think this is a step in the right direction. I think a better step in adding to this, because I don't imagine this being the end and it shouldn't be the end, is that in the United States, healthier foods that don't have, say, your evil seed oils or your dyes or your pesticides, whatever it may be, your organic foods, all of them are significantly more expensive than the poisonous foods. And so, what I would like to see from this government is build off on this sentiment and moving forward, the healthier foods you would think that are just growing in the grass, that are coming from a tree, whatever it may be, that don't have as much ingredients, actually, that lack of ingredients reflects in the pricing. And by that, then more individuals would be healthier, and it wouldn't be this mental gymnastics where people who don't have a lot of money are saying, well, you know what? I'm going to pay for something that's of less money for more bang for my buck, and that probably has higher calories to get me through, to get me and my family by, versus the healthier option in which we still are left hungry. So I think this is just one step into making all these very positive changes when it comes to our food system here in the United States.
Gabrielle Cuccia, former Trump White House staffer, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Great to speak with you.